Hi everyone, back again with another reaction video. And this one is for another Andrei Tarkovsky film, Mirror. So the other film I've seen from him is Stalker. Check it out on my channel if you haven't seen it already. I thought that movie was really good, like really just, I think like every shot felt quite meticulous. And it's pretty rare to find films like that where like it just feels like there was a certain intent with pretty much every shot, you know, almost even every camera movement felt like there was a certain sense of atmosphere and it really added to the story, like just every shot. And I love movies that do that, because there is a lot of movies that, yeah, they just cut for the sake of it, you know, or to just cut for, you know, they just have a lot of coverage. They just have a lot of coverage shots, and it just, you can tell it's not as like, and I really think with these type of movies, you can really connect with some when they do feel so thought out in a way. That being said, yeah, with Stalker, I didn't fully grasp everything. I didn't fully grasp what it was about, you know. I appreciate, though, in the comments that you did spell out some things for me and, you know, gave me a bit more clarity. But at the same time, though, a few of you did say, and I hear other reviewers saying it as well, it's not meant to be a movie that you just really get this easy spelled out what it's about. It really just depends on how you look at it. Everyone kind of sees it differently. I've heard this one, Mirror, is kind of the same though as well. It's meant to be a movie that you experience rather than something you try to just decipher and try to figure everything out. Granted, I probably still will try to do that. But knowing that, at least I know, you know, if I don't fully know what's going on, it's more about the experience and how it makes you feel, and just also appreciating, as I will, the technical things as well. Because, man, I imagine Stalker is not the only film that was just so well done. So anyway, let's get into this one. So this one is called Mirror. It came out in 1975, so that's a fair while ago. I haven't watched a lot of old movies from back then. I'm not one of those people that just watch a lot of old movies, so feel free to recommend me some great old ones as well. If you want to even call that an old movie. And then some people go, oh, what about 40s? Yeah, I've barely seen anything in the 1940s, I don't think. So yeah, it's not a crazy long movie. It's only 107 minutes, which is, yeah, an hour and 40. So anyway, that's very different to Stalker. That was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something like that. But it didn't feel like that. It was very breezy and interesting. So I wonder how this one in regards to pacing plays out. Anyway, let's get into it. That is an old TV. I remember having one kind of like that though. Not exactly like that, but big box TV, to say the least. This guy got... Ooh. Has he got a stutter of sorts? That'd make it really tough, you know, to be like, you know, have to deal with that and cope with that. Or to try and overcome it. Seance.
Только на меня. Глаза мне смотри. Глаза.
Once again, since they've changed to this color scheme, because they had that TV shot in the beginning, but now it's just this. It's all just been in this one shot. It definitely seems like this director likes to create that immersion with the one shot type of technique.
Внимание на моей руке. И ты почувствуешь, что моя рука тянет тебя назад.
Is that a microphone? There's a microphone in like the in the shadow there. It's like dangling around. Oh wow, it's really noticeable now.
Руки разверни.
Okay.
Ну, Юра, сосредоточься.
From what I've seen of this director, it seems very strange that they would actually make that mistake. Because like the past movie was, from what I remember, there was no mistake like that. And to just see that now, it's very strange. Like, it makes me wonder if it's intentional or something. I don't think that director would be like, oh yeah, just roll with it.
Сосредоточься. Я скажу 3, и руки станут неподвижны. Внимание.
This is like a hypnotism, almost. Seems like.
Ты не можешь двигать руками. Ты пытаешься шевелить руками, но руки твои неподвижны.
I'm liking how this is also in one shot too, and how the camera's like now zooming in. I think before too, when the camera was, I'm curious, when the camera was moving back before, Was it a dolly back or a zoom back? Because that's interesting if at first they were dollying back, right? But now they're zooming in. It's an interesting way to incorporate both different like camera moves, you know, they're using the dollies and also zooms. Let's see. Yeah, I think both times they did a zoom. It's very sneaky though, like you don't see it. Like it doesn't call much attention to itself.
А сейчас я сниму это состояние, и ты будешь говорить. Только громко и четко, свободно и легко. Не боясь своего голоса, своей речи.
Let's see if it works.
2, 3. Громко и четко. Я могу говорить. Давай.
Я могу говорить.
That's amazing. That sounded like it worked. It is crazy. Like that's really, from what I'm getting from that, it really just shows how much the human mind can kind of hold you back or be a hindrance. Like it seemed like what she was doing right there was a certain type of hypnotism or hypnotherapy. I think that's what they more call it. And it worked like that. I don't know if like it works for very long, but still it worked for that moment, which still is amazing in and of itself. I think I remember certain things even in Stalker, like there were some things that were slight philosophical and slight, you know, pointing towards the mind. Definitely, I think one of our greatest challenges or worst enemies is our mind. And you could see there, like it was affecting, as like, this is from my interpretation, but it seems like his mind was holding him back. The tensions, the anxiety he had, which he didn't choose, but that tension he had was holding him back from being able to speak, which was just part of his mind. That tension, you know, in a sense. Fascinating stuff. Definitely a different soundtrack from the previous movie, that's for sure. It sounds like an old, what do you call them? An organ? It's quite nice though. I wonder if that guy with the speech stuff that he had, I wonder if he's like our main character of sorts. The mirror. I'd say, wait, really? There's like a, almost like it looks like a 3 in the title for mirror in Russian. That's Russian text, correct? Yeah, I think as of this point, this is my second Russian film. I haven't seen anything else except for from Andrei Tarkovsky. So feel free to recommend away with other great Russian films. Hey, there's another train we got going on, just like in Stalker. We've got a train sound in the background. I'm loving this shot though. This is cool. Dolly in.
Простите, девушка, я на Тамшино, правильно иду?
Вам не надо.
Ah, this actor too. Okay. Right. This is the guy from Stalker. I think he was great. I think pretty much everyone was great in the last film.
Я не могу сосчитать.
Ну что, мне мужа позвать, что ли?
Да нет у вас.
This movie, from what I can see here, it looks like it has a very soft focus as well. Like it is quite a shallow depth of field, but there's like a softness to the focus as well. Looks nice though.
Хотя сейчас редко кто носит. Старики разве?
That's interesting to hear that, because this movie is old, saying people don't wear rings anymore. I feel like still today people wear rings.
А?
Oh!
Я не понимаю.
Didn't handle it for a second, it just dropped after you sat on it.
Это мы все бегаем, суетимся. Все пошлости говорим. Это все от того, что мы природе, что в нас не верим. Доверчивость. Торопливость, что ли? Отсутствие времени, чтобы подумать.
A lot of this stuff is spitting some truth. Yeah. These movies are very just introspective or quite... You could say these movies in regards to the dialogue are quite philosophical. Like there, it's kind of like people are just such in a rush and whatever and just doing. They don't have a time for just being and just being present, you know. Yeah, it's quite fascinating. Just like, you don't hear this much in movies. It's like this kind of philosophical talk. At least that I can think of. I do find it fascinating though, and it's interesting that characters in the movies do talk like that. Granted, like, that being said, in real life, the only time I really hear this type of talk is if I seek it. Yeah, I gotta look for it in a book or look for it, in movies or whatever, or even just YouTube videos where people talk about it in that way. But in normal, usual life, this isn't spoken like this. So it is interesting for a character to talk this way. Especially because I don't think he's met this person before till now. And he's just talking like this. Oh, wow. Did they get a big fan or something to make the wind do that? Or was that just luck that big gush of wind come along?
И в темноте светилась, и медленно клонилась нагота, и просыпаясь, будь благословен.
Is that putting sugar on the cat's head?
И небо развернулось пред глазами, когда судьба по следу шла за нами, как сумасшедший с бритвою.
Is this poetry from something and I've never read it before? Because that sounded particularly nice, and it's crazy to think if that's poetry from something I haven't heard before. I don't know what the crying was about in that point either. I don't know if it was because of the guy or something, or something's happened to her. I'm curious as to why she was crying in that particular moment. As I said, maybe the poetry meant something, I just didn't catch on to what it meant. But yeah, I'm not sure what made her cry in that moment. Maybe it was even a joyful thing. She wasn't crying out of sadness. They don't seem to have much light in their house. What time? Oh, it's a pretty cool shot. For reflection like that.
Чего?
Wow, what an interesting way to frame this scene and stage it. That's very nice. Okay, some bloody buggers burn something down. I'm still getting quite a patient way this is being filmed, which I appreciate. It's quite interesting still. Oh, just change colour palettes again. Yeah, now it's same location, I think, but different colour scheme. Or like a different time in the plot. Perhaps it's meant to show a different time in the plot or something. Oh, what's with the walls? The walls are kind of icky looking. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Shit's collapsing. Uh-huh. It's like instead of fire, it's water making things fall apart. She looks younger there too, correct? I think that's that lady from before. Unless it's because it's just her hair. It's different. Makes her look younger or something. I wonder if there is a connection there with like the water versus fire thing. Like the fire was burning down that structure before, and now water is destroying this area. It's like the extremes of either is too, like, not ideal. Back to color again by the looks of it. That was a very seamless way that it was done in that time.
Хорошо промолчать. Все-таки слова не могут передать всего, что человек чувствует.
That's true. Very true.
А вы?
Sounds like this is the dude from earlier. Just the way he's talking.
Пожал? Ну, помнишь, когда сеновал сгорел на хуторе?
Oh.
О, Господи. Когда?
Утром сегодня, 7 часов.
Different way this is being filmed, not even showing the characters, just showing the place where the guy lives. Very slow camera movements. I'm liking this though.
Что с тобой? Вечер.
It's engaging too. You don't actually have to show their faces in the conversation. Their voice inflections is enough, in a sense. Now it's switched back to this colour scheme again. Like with the last film, Stalker, basically it looked like most of the time why the colour palette changed was when they went into the zone area. But in this one, I'm not sure the reasoning why the colour palette's changing quite frequently. That's some intense rain there. What the hell? That was a much more noticeably zoom shot there. It was like, it's like more of a sense of urgency in this scene. Oh, the way those lights are glowing like that looks kind of cool. It's got a weird like ring around it. So we got some slow motion incorporated in this film too. The use of sound here is interesting too. It's like that stuff is really overbearing. You can't hear the main characters. You can't hear the characters' voices. Is this like a? It looks like a newspaper place. So this is where they print them all and all that jazz.
Что-нибудь случилось?
Да нет, ничего.
Hey, he was from Stalker as well. Look at that.
Пусть будет так. Кто-то будет работать, кто-то будет бояться.
I'm still liking the way this is filmed. Really good, like tracking shots, stuff. Yeah, still on a technical level, this movie is still really solid, like Stalker. It's crazy how long some of these shots go for. So seamless too. Like you just overlook it.
Да вся твоя жизнь. Это принеси воды, да подавай башмаки. А что из этого выходит? Видимость независимости. Да и ты же пальцем шевельнуть попросту не умеешь. Если тебя что-нибудь не устраивает или делаешь...
Wow, this conversation turned kind of intense pretty quickly.
То ты определенно сделаешь их несчастными.
Damn. She's been telling us some stuff right there. What the hell? I don't know if it's true or what. I think the way she went about it was a bit hostile.
Маш,
Yeah, good luck trying to talk to her now. She's just going to be pissed at you.
Я всегда говорил, что ты похож на мою мать.
Видимо, поэтому мы и разошлись.
Divorced. Okay.
за кого?
Ну, это уж я не знаю, за кого. Или отдай Игната мне.
I'm liking that the shot is focusing on her. Interesting, and not him in this scene. She's really good at her performance here too. It's particularly great.
Ну, во всяком случае, что касается матери меня, то я острее всего.
I'm liking the way they're using reflections in this too. What the hell is that on the bull's back? Or the... Oh!
И дети тоже русские.
I mean, this scene's particularly had the most editing, cutting back to these scenes, the older footage, and then, yeah, the conversations. That scene, I think, had the most editing in the whole movie. Everything else has been quite, patient and flowy. What is that? What is that? I'll say this, like, about 40 minutes in, I'm intrigued by what's happening. And I'm thinking at the moment there is a certain jumping between different timelines, as far as I can tell. I don't think this movie's in order of what is happening. It's not in any chronological order. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like it's in order. Anyway, I'm intrigued by this. I'm not sure... I don't think personally I'm connecting with this one as much so far as I did with Stalker. Stalker, I was like invested because it was just such a mystery of this other location and all that. That's not so much the case here. But I am finding it still to be really good on a technical standpoint and on a performance standpoint. Especially that lady, she's particularly good.
Иди сюда, я ухожу.
What does that sound? Music or... I wonder what that noise was.
Сложности, то я решительно не могу с вами согласиться. Положа руку на сердце, разве не находите вы что-то...
Wow, these camera movements are still very interesting. Like, this shot has been you know, the way it's moved.
Я далеко не...
Like a mix of like pans and zoom ins. Yeah, it feels very intentional.
Ой, я, кажется...
The music, or whatever, the sound is so quite haunting. I bet when he looks back, she's gone. Not there anymore. Huh. That's cool. I like that they don't just cut to a shot of her not there. Like it like has a shot of her him looking around, and then, you know, he walks over and she's gone. I just like the trust, in a way, the director has with the audience. He doesn't feel like you need to have that extra little shot. You know, you can just wait a little bit longer. It creates a level of tension. And yeah, it just feels more like he's not, oh wow, that's like, maybe she had her elbow on the table, so when she lifts it up, it's fading. That's kind of cool. Huh. Cool way to tell the scene with that.
Влюблялся во время войны. Такая рыжая, до сих пор помню. За ней еще наш военрук бегал контуженный. Ты меня слышишь?
Yeah, these sounds are so... Is that meant to be the crunching in the snow? That Oi. Don't want to fuck around with them too much, damn. Ah. What the hell? Jesus. Oh, that's not good. What happened?
Она же учебная.
Oh. Jeez. I feel like his movies have more of a bigger focus on the sound design. Like even just the sounds of the floorboards creaking and the stairs. Something that you even hear. I loved how it was utilized in Stalker.
Бессмертно все. Не надо бояться смерти ни в 17 лет, ни в 70. Есть только явь и свет.
That was, the whole immortality thing was interesting. Like what he was saying there. Like in regards to conscious experience, I guess, you know, we are born and then we die. But if you look at the bigger picture, humanity as a whole, in a sense, I mean, we could destroy each other and kill each other off, but even just reality itself, it depends on what you define yourself as. If you define yourself as just this body and this conscious experience, yes, you could say that there's death. But if you go beyond that, to just reality itself, well, reality in a sense feels quite immortal. Like even before, you could say like a lot of existence, there was still some type of existence. And it'll, you know, so I guess in a way it depends on how you look at it. It depends on who you say you are as an individual, I guess. Is that tank drifting? You see that? Around the corner. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, this looks, the snow, I mean, it sounds silly, but the snow looks so white. And then the stuff he's wearing contrasts really well, just the blacks. It's very black and white looking. Huh. I'm liking this music at the moment. It's quite striking and effective. This kind of, I remember recently watching Ran. It's the first Akira Kurosawa film I've seen, and man, I love that raid scene with the music. And that's all you hear. You don't hear any dialogue for a good bit. That was so good. I loved how striking that scene was. Oh, sure. That was a stack. Wow, he landed flat in his face. Those look like some high quality pictures.
А самому первый шаг трудно сделать.
Мы ведь сейчас об Игнате разговариваем, кажется.
I like that they're all just focusing on her in this scene too, not the guy.
Могу дождаться этого сна, в котором я опять увижу себя ребенком и снова почувствую себя счастливым от того, что еще все впереди.
I mean, you hear that a lot from people. You know, later on in life, people think it's too late to do this, too late to do that. I mean, I guess there is some truth, like especially if your energy levels aren't as high as they used to be, and you know, but still, it's a lot you can do. But that's definitely a sentiment a lot of people think. Oi, damn. I'm liking the use of slow motion in this film. It's actually quite effective. As I said, I think I've mentioned this before, I'm not a huge fan usually of slow motion, but I'm liking how it's done in this movie. The lighting's quite different in this scene, that's for sure. I'm liking how reflections are utilized in this film. These scenes are quite uniquely shot as well.
Мы ведь уж уверились было в дочке-то. Разбудили мы тебя все-таки, да? Вот у тебя мама-то. Болтает да болтает.
She doesn't seem too bothered.
К нам пришел-то. А?
Yeah, exactly. She's like, oh, people, different people.
Ну что же ты? И...
Нет, ну зачем же Алёшу?
Тогда держите. Держите. Крепче держите, а то вырвется всю посуду. Ну-ка.
Oh, damn, they're gonna kill a chicken on camera. Damn, did she do it? Oh, she's like looking directly at the camera. It's kind of intimidating, her holding the chicken down and then looking.
Успокойся, ничего. Все будет хорошо.
Жалко.
Yo, is she like floating or something?
Слышишь?
Oh shit, what the hell? Yo, that is interesting. That looks really cool though too. The way her hair is just like, kind of like... Wow, that looks interesting.
Слуха в ответ на каждый шаг. И весело, и сухо. Земля.
Oh, that's cool looking. Look at that. The way it's like... Yeah, some interesting uses of slow motion I'm liking here too. He's gone now, isn't he? Huh. I love these type of shots they do. Like Tarkovsky did this in Stalker as well, where the camera just kind of like just goes around in the setting. The camera doesn't track anyone, but just kind of goes through the areas. I really love how that's done.
Что, в чем-то виноват?
Да нет, это он так считает.
Оставьте меня в покое.
Простите, вы что-то сказали?
Оставьте меня в покое. Ничего, ничего. Все обойдется.
Is one of her sons dying or something? Is that what's happening here? Yeah, I do like the music in this. It really does seem to fit quite well. This music is quite striking. I do like the... Where have I heard this from? I've heard this from another movie too. I know it's a big classical song, but what have I heard this also in? Oh, I think I heard this in Killing of a Sacred Deer at the end of it as well. Which is interesting because this is nearing the end too. So that's kind of cool if both movies end with this song. Very different movies though. Although they were both kind of weird and artistic, I guess. What is that stuff in there? What happened? Another interesting camera shot too, with how this shot's moved from over there all the way to over here and slowly drifting away. Is that our last shot, is it? The end. Okay. Oh man. Okay. See, with Stalker, I had a sense of like I didn't exactly get a lot of it as well. But that being said, I still felt like I got more, you know, in a sense of like I like the mystery and the intrigue. But this didn't have that. It was more of like a drama. Man, I don't know. Like, you've got me, man. I'm quite confused as to exactly just what happened, in a sense. I did appreciate still. There's a lot of appreciation for this movie on a filmmaking standpoint, especially the music. I think is pretty damn good. The I think even the lighting's pretty good as well, and the use of slow motion, that was something that was interesting in this one. I don't think Stalker had slow motion utilized in it. It was interesting to see how Tarkovsky would utilize that, and I think that was good. Yeah, so on a filmmaking level, this is solid, but in regards to characters, story, I'm just a bit puzzled. Yeah. I just didn't really feel like I was getting invested in anything. That was something in Stalker I felt invested, even though I didn't really get parts of it, especially at the end. I felt invested in like the mystery and going to the location, all that stuff. I was really pulled by that. But this, I was just kind of more perplexed. Anyway, I'm going to do my list and then I'll be right back. I might look up some slight little bits of explanation to see if anything pops in my head and goes, oh, you know. But at the moment, I'm quite puzzled. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and yeah, even though I didn't really grasp the story very much in this, to be honest, there was still really a lot here that I appreciate. So there's actually a decent sized list here. So let's get into the list, and then I'll talk a bit more about particularly kind of, you know, for me, there is a lot of movies that I like this, like, and I'll go into that. But why this one, for me, it didn't work as well as some others. But anyway, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, cinematography. Yeah, this is, of course, apparent. There's a lot of good filmmaking elements here. Andrei Tarkovsky is definitely great at that, and I'm intrigued to see more of his films now. Like, I think Solaris is another one of his. I think that's how you say it. And it's meant to be like a sci-fi film, and I think it's the most story, like it makes the most sense out of any of his films. Like, it's a more coherent, just very basic story. But I'm curious then, with that just being a simple story, but then just with this level of filmmaking, that could be one of my favorites of his then. So I guess we'll see when I get around to watching that one. It actually makes me more intrigued to see that one, actually. But anyway, but yeah, just overall cinematography, really good. Just great uses of, you know, how the camera's utilized and all the different filmmaking elements. Anyway, I'm going to go more into detail with that anyway. So number 2 is camera composition. So the way the shots are composed, another thing that I very much appreciated in Stalker as well. But yeah, just very well shot in a lot of ways. I think one of my favorite shots was the fire in the barn, and then in the foreground you got the water leaking down. Like, that's such a striking shot with both of those elements, you know. So I really liked that shot. I liked the elements of how fire and water was used here, because they felt more. There was more impact than what most films would have in that sense. Like, fire felt like quite a striking thing at times in the film. And then also water, like there was a scene with like heavy rain. It just felt like there was more of a significance in this movie with those than most other movies. Like, I felt like it was intentional in a sense. Like, there was a reason for the narrative why it was there. I just feel like that's the case. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. So anyway, number 3, camera movements. I love the camera movements. I mentioned this throughout the video, but I really love those shots where there's no one in a room or in a house, and the camera just kind of slowly just moves around. This was something they did a bit in Stalker, I think, as well. But I love that. It really just creates a certain atmosphere and a certain sense of, I don't know, like immersion, even though you don't see any characters. It's just very strange. Like, it honestly, I can't think of many movies that actually do that in that particular way, you know. So I love how that's utilized. Number 4, I don't think I said this in Stalker, but I think I probably would on rewatch. But anyway, this is for this movie anyway. Lens choices. I love the soft focus at times in these movies, or even sometimes when it is quite blurry, that it seems quite intentional either way, but it just looks beautiful, especially when it's in color. I really love the in color stuff. The black and white stuff still looks good in parts, but I really love the stuff in color with the lens choice. I think it just looks gorgeous. It still holds up today in its own way, you know. So that's number 4. Number 5 is, I kind of already mentioned it, atmosphere. So that there is a certain atmosphere created in this movie that I really like and find interesting. That is something where I get the most emotion from the film, is just like the atmosphere, the way that kind of brings across certain feelings, I think. I kind of wish I felt a bit more of that with the characters or story in a sense, but it was a bit, for me, hard to kind of grasp that for this type of movie. But I did find the atmosphere quite fascinating that was brought across. Number 6 is kind of already mentioned this, but I wanted to emphasize it a bit more. Dolly ins and outs. So I love the way the camera kind of like dollies forward in certain shots and dollies back a few times as well, I think. I just love the way the camera is just used throughout this movie, and this is the case also with his previous movie as well. And also leading me to another point similar to his previous movie, number 7, long takes. I love the long takes. They just really create a certain immersion, certain atmosphere in the film. You do get this sense of connection with that, but as I said, just for me, perhaps just a little bit more coherence with characters and story. I maybe would have liked this more. But that being said, this is a highly regarded movie, so maybe I'm just wrong, because I think I'm guessing I just didn't get it. I'm thinking that's probably just the case. I just didn't get it, which is fair enough, I guess. And you know, I'm open to finding out what it's about. But yeah, to me, I looked up some stuff on Wikipedia, just like a general synopsis. It sounded like I read a different fucking movie. Like seriously, it was like, wait, that's what I watched. Yeah, I like sometimes I had like when I read it, I had a few flashes like, oh yeah, that's what that was. But man, it's tough. Like this is a tough thing to get in a sense of story and characters, and maybe that's the point. I don't know. But yeah, it's got 4.3 on Letterboxd, so there is a lot of people that like this. And that being said, that's from out of 5 stars, and that's the funny thing I'm going to mention soon is that. So just a moment. But anyway, so long takes was really good. Number 8 is lighting. I think the lighting is pretty damn good as well, along with the lens choice, especially with the use of fire in some parts as well. But yeah, overall, I thought the lighting was quite effective as well. And it kind of it looked like natural lighting a lot as well. It may not have been, but it looked very natural at least. And I thought it was quite effective in a lot of shots. Number 9, this is something that was different in this movie, I think. Use of slo-mo. This is something I don't think was in Stalker, and so that's something in this movie on a technical standpoint that makes it stand out in a different way. But I love the use of slo-mo throughout this movie. It was just very effective in a lot of ways. It was very effective in a lot of ways, just how it kind of brought across, once again, a certain atmosphere and a certain feeling, in a sense. Like, especially some of the shots with the wind, and then it was in slow motion, I think. Yeah, very effective uses of it, instead of just like, you know, I think I prefer slow motion used for dramatic purposes. Like, recently I watched, Challenges. Recently I watched the movie Challenges, and the way they used slow motion in that, I really found that interesting. I loved. And then the way the music was used with that. Anyway, that's a whole other movie. But yeah, I think slow motion can be used quite well. It definitely can be overused. It's definitely something that I don't usually give points to. But I did like how it was used in this. Number 10, acting. So I think the performances were still really good, especially the lead actress, Margarita? Really? Is that actually her first name? Margarita. Really? That's pretty cool. Oh, wow. Margarita Terekhova. Is that how you say her name? Oh, gosh. Yeah. But yeah, she was good. I really liked her performance in this. She definitely stood out the most for me. Yeah, she wasn't bad at all. And everyone else was relatively good. There wasn't any issues I felt with the acting, that's for sure. And leading me to number 11, music. So yeah, I liked the music, and I actually liked at the very end that the music was the same song used at the very ending of Killing of a Sacred Deer, that same classic song. I wonder if Yorgos Lanthimos has watched this. I imagine he has. But I wonder if like there was a bit of an homage to that. But anyway. But yeah, that being said, the music throughout this movie worked quite well, I think, as well, for the atmosphere and such. Yeah, so effective use of music as well. So yeah, there you go, 11 things. So how I rate movies is literally about the things I like. So one thing is a half star out of 5. So this still gets 5 stars, even though I didn't get the story. Which I know some people could go, oh, but you know, shouldn't it be all the things? But I don't expect a movie to be perfect with all things. And if that was the case, there would be no 5 stars. That being said, like, it goes from like, okay, rating it out of 5, out of 5 or 10. So if you have 10 things, that's 5 stars or 10 out of 10. But then after the fact, where does it rank with my best to worst movie? My best to worst movies. And my highest movies are the most amount of things I like. And I think my highest movies are about like 30 something things. So yeah, this got 11. So this is still lower on that list, but it's still a 5. A 5 star or a 10 out of 10. And the crazy thing is that is mostly just from the technical stuff, which is insane because most movies don't get this. Most movies at all don't get this many technical things I like about it. So it's impressive in its own right that it gets that many things just by the filmmaking alone. And I guess like the acting and such. It's amazing, honestly, that it's capable of that. It just makes me wonder, man, if it had the story elements and character elements that I connected to, this would have been pretty great. Like, it could have been in the 20 things or even more. Who knows? That does lead me to some other movies, in a sense, that I like a bit more than Mirror. And that's example of, like, Enemy by Denis Villeneuve and Donnie Darko. And what's some other ones? Even Ship of Theseus. Actually, that's the same amount of things, Ship of Theseus, but I feel like I like that a bit more. So the thing is with Ship of Theseus is it was a little bit jumbled too, but every scene, every transition to new characters, I connected with them. You know, there was something that connected me with them, something thought-provoking that connected me. With this movie, not so much. The very opening scene, talking to the lady and the fence breaks, I love that scene. That's probably one of my favorite, just little alone scenes. With just in regards to dialogue. A lot of the other dialogue, I felt a little bit, I didn't really connect with it. I didn't really like, it didn't grab me, and I feel like in a way I probably lost a lot of the story elements because I just wasn't, the dialogue and what was being said just wasn't, there was nothing that was really getting my attention. It was just kind of just going by. It's insane though, honestly, that there are so many things I still like about this, and it's mostly on a technical standpoint. But that very opening scene was the most that I liked about it on a dialogue level, and on even on a parts of like a character and story level. That little scene, I was thinking in that moment, I was like, oh shit, is it just going to be like this, like scenes like that, and then just going to be more like that? Like if it was like that scene and just more of that, I think this would have been mind-blowing. But for me personally, it just didn't grab me much after that. Even the poetic stuff, it didn't really mix with me very well. Didn't connect with me, unfortunately. But anyway, but see, and even Stalker, I can say this. I think one thing a lot of these movies have that this one didn't personally, I feel, is mystery. Mystery and intrigue. I think these type of movies having mystery and intrigue, and even Lost Highway, those movies, there's a level of like, what is going on? But the thing is with this movie, at a certain point, that I had lost that what is going on type of feeling. And I just kind of I was confused, but I wasn't thinking what is going on anymore. And I just in the end just sat back and went, okay, I'll just appreciate what I appreciate. And that being said, I still found a lot that I liked about it. But like with Enemy especially, like there's that real mystery in the film, and then just everything else with it. It's such a well utilized story. I think I might do a video on that movie at some point, even though I've seen it numerous times, just to really commentate my thoughts and feelings about that movie as it's playing. But yeah, overall I did appreciate this movie, but it just didn't connect with me on a story and character level, unfortunately. I wouldn't be surprised if in this video I get a bit more negative comments than usual, just because I just didn't get it on a character and story level. That being said, feel free to do that if you want to, but at the same time, if you can, tell me what you think of the film, in a sense of like, what do you like about it? And also, what are your thoughts on it? What does it mean to you, this movie? Like, what do you think this movie means? I'm definitely going to look up some stuff about this. I'm definitely going to watch this again at some point. I'll get a bit more understanding of what it is and what's happening in regards to characters and story. But yeah, I'm going to definitely look up some like YouTube videos and stuff and just listen to them, and try and get a sense of what's going on there. But yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't connect with me. What can I say? It's not like, I can't really say it was my fault that it didn't connect with me. It just didn't. At least, as I said, on a character and story level. On a filmmaking level, yeah, it was great. It was like, most movies today do not have this level of intent and quality. Yeah, I will say that. But yeah, unfortunately, just on those other elements, it just didn't quite get me, in a sense. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear what you think. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you are able to help me get some more clarity on this. So I'll be definitely reading the comments of this video. Feel free, positive comments, negative comments, whatever. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you've watched this video all the way up to this point, consider hitting the subscribe button and liking the video. I'd very much appreciate that. And yeah, that's it for this one. Hope to catch you folks in the next one. Bye-bye.